projects. I just finished doing a photo shoot to support Obama.
Very cool.
Yes.
And
great.
And we are days away. We are days away. It's a Tuesday. I actually voted early on Friday.
Oh, well, that was smart.
I went down to Norwalk, California. And if you want to read about it, it's on Variety.com, and it's on their Washington and Wilshire blog. But yeah, they kind of wrote a little story about it. It's like a tent revival down there. They have tents outside, and then you get a number.
How long did you have to wait?
It was a 3-hour wait.
Jeez, wow, even that early?
Yeah, I got there a half hour after it opened, and I still had to wait 3 hours. People got there at 6 a.m., and they were leaving right when I was showing up. They call out your number though, like it's bingo,
like a DMV.
Yeah, number 37.
Yeah,
Pink, number
it's a
37.
DMV. It's a DMV all over again.
But people cheer when they call it, and it was. I have to say, I was kind of the token white guy down there. It was very African American, and there was such excitement. It was so cool. I mean, I was in line, and I kind of realized what was happening. Like these people are voting early because they're excited. I was like totally cheering
they want
up.
their vote to count.
Yeah.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for
Don't lie.
No, I voted. I voted for the Libertarian candidate. No,
which would be Obama.
Yeah, well, I voted for Obama.
Okay, see, that's who I was going to vote for.
And I am generally an independent. I was going to vote for McCain in 2000. In fact, I changed my registration to Republican so that I could vote for him in the Republican primary.
Okay.
But then South Carolina is when his campaign imploded. That was the famous moment where somebody, maybe Karl Rove, whoever, called all the people in South Carolina saying, "Did you know John McCain is a black baby?" And they had these robocalls where they called all these people.
That's just
and he suddenly lost in South Carolina. And so his campaign was over by the time it got to California.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been able to vote for him in 2000.
Right.
But, since that time, his voting record has gotten a little more conservative than I can handle. And plus, he hired the same creepy people who did that to them.
Wow.
Those people that submerged his candidate, he brought all those creepy handlers on to run his campaign.
Wow. You know what? That's a job that I definitely just would never want to do. Just to be the president. I would not want that.
Well, not only that, you cannot have a past anymore.
Talk about safety there,
Well, that's what you're talking about on Playboy Radio. You said they've kind of changed their format now.
Playboy Radio, yes.
And Playboy Radio is Sirius
it's
198.
Serious
yes.
It's Sirius.
Is it Sirius or Cirrus?
Sirius, isn't that right?
Sirius 198.
I say it both ways.
Yeah.
Depending on what mood I'm in. Sirius Radio. Or Sirius Radio.
But what I'm saying is they've actually made it more serious, that you are talking about politics.
Yes,
and you're on 3 times a week on that show?
Not always 3 times a week. It's just when one of the main hosts has another job or something they have to do.
We got a call coming in. I'm going to grab this.
Sure. A lot of calls today.
Hey there, caller. You are on Hottie Help with Katie Lohmann and Candace Kita. Welcome.
Well, hi. Thank you.
Hi.
You guys have some great advice. I was just wondering if either you have any other safety tips for like aspiring models on how to keep your personal information safe.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. Candace, you want to address that?
Or Katie, I think I can think of, and I usually almost say it every single episode, is I am such a strong supporter of getting a P.O. box.
Yes, I've got one of those.
Me too. Very good. For any young woman that's out there, so you don't have your mail going directly to your house. And so if you would do a job and you have to write down your address to where your check goes, you don't
Or if you don't want to get a P.O. box, I mean, of course, that's a great idea. But if you don't want to, when you are filling out the information at a casting, always list your agent's number for your contact and your agent's address. And even if they want to send the check there, go ahead, send the check there. I have no problem going over
and even if they ask, we need your email, or we need a number to get a hold of you, we need to get your own personal number, we need to get your cell phone number. No, give it to your manager, give it to your agent. I don't care what they say.
And here's another address thing besides P.O. boxes, and it's kind of sad. Some of our models and actresses will not be voting this time around. And you know why they won't be voting?
Why?
Because the address gets in the public record. And if you have a really serious bad case of a bad guy, right, and you don't want your address in the public record, it's something you can do to keep your address out of the public record.
Right,
that makes sense. I never even thought about that, but I mean, I'm not.
I don't want to tell people not to vote, but I'm saying that's how serious it can be.
Right. Yeah, and to always, when you have your cell phone, make sure that your number is unpublished, and it's a private number. I think that's really important. And then, on the contact sheets when you do jobs.
Yeah,
make sure they don't put your information in there, because sometimes they do. So that means every single person on that crew. Every single person.
And I've had people call me from the crew before.
Did you really?
Yes.
Did you ever date a best boy?
No.
Gaffer?
No.
DP?
No.
All right.
And he's hoping you're just, making his fantasies go away.
I actually met a porn star guy once, and we were talking to him, just nice, normal conversation.
Uh-huh.
And he said to me, hey, do you guys, I was with my wife, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, so do you guys want to do a DP? And I was like,
that's so funny.
And I was like, director of photography. Like,
I know exactly what he was talking about. That's so funny.
I was just blown away when my wife later was like, I was like, what?
You're like, what? What did it mean?
Yeah, that was horrible.
So and I'm not even in that business, and I know what it means.
Right, right. And then also I would say if you're getting interviewed, because, I think the more you're in the business, the more opportunity you have to get interviewed. Make sure you don't talk about, too much of your personal information, like where you live, your address,
important.
What area of town
never
you're
give your
in.
address. Yeah,
just that kind of stuff that you would think that you would, but you just can't do it. It's just not safe because you don't know who's looking at it, all the interviews that are online.
Oh, yeah. And never have your P.O. box in the city that you live in. If you got to drive a little bit,
go once a week.
It's okay. Go once a week, because my P.O. box is not in the same city where my house is. And
I've heard so many models and actresses say they have P.O. boxes that I'm thinking of going to work for the post office. Because I'd be like, because you're all walking. Hello, Katie.
Hey, just look at the mail.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend who you actually know too, who's a beautiful model, and she had a PO box, and then found out later that she thought somebody was mailing mail to her, and it seemed strange. And then in actuality, she found out later, according to the PO box, the mail people, that he was coming and dropping at the mail center, and so she was very disturbed that she was thinking, "Gosh, this guy's coming to this
he knows
mail place
where
every
it is,
single day, and he's dropping stuff off." And so she wasn't able to go back to her boxes.
I'm telling you, never forget. Guys, they got in a boat and they all went for Helen of Troy. Man, they went across the sea and they went to find Helen of Troy. I'm telling you, guys' drives are so strong that they do insane things like this. Show up at a PO box. You have to pay attention.
And there's a line that they should see, though, what is appropriate and inappropriate behavior.
Well, they should.
And that's what we're talking about on the show today, and how to keep what Eric was saying, the person that wrote in with the question that started this whole show today, is that, for young actresses and models just getting into the business, a lot of times you don't understand what type of attention that's going to bring to you.
Well, I have a question for you, Candace. What inspired you to want to do a book and a show on safety? Did something happen that just sort of put you over the edge, and you're like, you know what? I think I need to educate people on this.
Absolutely, because I think I always say what Eric was saying in this. It's like, learn from my experiences, learn from my mistakes. We've both been in the industry for a while. I've been in the industry for over 10 years.
Well, she was talking about, that time where she showed up at that guy's house for the calendar.
Exactly.
And Candace has, story after story like that. And as she started collecting all these stories, we start going, man, this seems like something that's relevant.
The other girls that we all know, that we've all known, we all know each other. And I hear stories too from other women as well. So for me, I saw a need for something like this. And then I was so amazed at the overwhelming response when I started contacting other women that are in the business. And I said, would you be interested in coming on? Oh, I have so many stories I have to tell you. It was just overwhelming, amazing. And then people that have been, calling me and emailing me, and all these women saying, thank you so much for doing this. I didn't